Ciao e benvenuti al tavolo italiano. Today in Learning Italian a little bit at a time, we're going to be learning about the Italian subject pronouns and conjugating essere, to be, and avere, to have, in the present tense. First, it's always important to remember that there are always exceptions to every rule. Okay, what's a subject in a sentence? Simply put, the subject is a person or thing that is doing or being whatever is happening in a sentence. For example, if the sentence says, "The dog barks," the dog is the subject, as it is the one doing the barking. If you said, "He is nice," then he is the subject, because he is the one that is nice. Now, what's a pronoun? A pronoun is a word we use to take the place of another word, a noun, a person, a place, or a thing. So instead of saying Bob swims often, you could say he swims often. He is then a pronoun for Bob. Another example would be instead of saying the book is on the table, we might say it is on the table. In this case, it is the pronoun for the book. Hence, a subject pronoun is simply a pronoun that represents the noun, person, or thing that is doing or being whatever is happening in a sentence. Now, let's look at what these subject pronouns are. Here we can say the English subject pronouns and their Italian counterparts. But before we actually look at the pronouns themselves, let's cover just a couple of facts. First of all, subject pronouns are usually divided into two main camps: the singular subject pronouns and the plural subject pronouns. This meaning, singular subject pronouns are pronouns that take the place of a noun that represent one person or one thing. And they're divided into first person, which represents the person doing the speaking, second person, which would represent the person doing the speaking is speaking to, or the third person, which is a third person. All of them singular, all of them being one. The plural are divided up the same way. The first person, meaning the person doing the writing or the speaking, is a part of a group that is there. So the first person plural represents a group of people or things. The second person, once again, just like in the singular, represents a group of people, this time instead of singular, that the person is speaking or writing to. And the third person plural is another group. It's a third group of people or things. Now you'll notice far to the right, we have familiar use for you, formal use for you. Familiar use for you and formal use for you. The first two represent the singular pronouns. The second two represent the plural pronouns. This is a bit of a foreign concept for Americans because in English we don't have this. What this means is where it says familiar use for you is a pronoun that you would use for people that you're acquainted with, a friend, or for small children. The formal use for you are for adults that you don't know very well, or for superiors. You're going to understand a little more about this as you learn in other lessons how to conjugate certain verbs. But suffice it to say for now, if you're talking to someone that you've never met, and he or she is an adult, you would want to use lei instead of tu. If you're talking to a group of adults that you've never met, or it's in a formal setting, you would want to use loro instead of voi. Now, having said all of that, let's actually look at the subject pronouns. The first person singular subject pronoun in English is I. In Italian, it's io. Second person is you. In Italian, it's tu. The third person singular for he is he or she in English. In Italian, it's lui, lei. And the formal you is lei. The formal you is grouped in with he and she because it's conjugated. The verbs are conjugated the same way as they would be for lui or lei. First person plural in English is we. In Italian is noi. The second person plural for English is you. For Italian is voi. and the third person plural is they in English, and loro in Italian. Loro can also be the formal use for you in a plural sense. Conjugating a verb. What is conjugating a verb? To conjugate a verb, simply put, is to convert it from its infinitive form to the 6 different forms it could take for any given tense. For example, in English, let's take the verb to be. To be is the infinitive form. The 6 forms it could take are to accommodate the 6 persons represented by the subject pronouns, first, second, and third person, both singular and plural, as shown below in the present tense. You'll remember we talked about the singular pronouns, first, second, and third person, and the plural pronouns, first, second, and third person. This equals a list of 6 potential persons for each tense. Tenses meaning the present tense, the future tense, the past tense. Now let's look at the verb to be, all in English. So the first person singular, if you remember, was I. When you put the verb to be with this particular subject pronoun in English, you say I am. You don't say I to be, you say I am. Am is still a form of the verb to be, but it has been conjugated, modified, or changed in order to work with the subject pronoun I. Now let's look at the rest of them. I am, you are, he, she, or it is, we are, you are, they are. We have 3 different words, am, are, and is. All of them are forms of to be, but they've been modified to work with the various subject pronouns. Okay, let's look at the Italian verb for to be, or essere. Essere is Italian for to be. The first person singular in Italian, io, changes the verb essere to sono. So you'd say, io sono, I am. Tu sei, you are. Lui, lei, è, he or she is. Noi siamo, we are. Voi siete, you are. Loro sono, they are. Okay, so you can see we have 5 different words. We have sono, sei, è, siamo, siete, but they're all forms of the verb essere. They have merely been changed or modified to work with the various pronouns. Io, tu, lui, lei, noi, voi, and loro. Works the same way as it does in English. It's just a different verb with different forms. Another Italian verb, avere, meaning to have. Io ho, I have. Tu hai, you have. Lui, lei, ha, he or she has. Noi abbiamo, we have. Voi avete, you have. Loro hanno, they have. Once again, o, I, ha, abbiamo, avete, hanno are all forms of the verb avere. They've just been modified to work with io, tu, lui, lei, noi, voi, loro. There you have it. Grazie mille. Thank you very much for coming to a Tavolo Italiano and going over subject pronouns and how to conjugate essere and avere. You can find a printable study sheet of this lesson at iltavoloitaliano.com, iltavoloitaliano.com. There are also a wide variety of other lessons and activities to help you in your quest to learn the Italian language. All of them for free at iltavoloitaliano.com. Ciao, e parlate l'italiano.